I never noticed that before. When you press start broadcast, it says that you can hang out for up to 8 hours. Who on earth would want to be on Google Hangouts for 8 hours? That would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? Welcome, everyone. I am so glad that you are here with me today. And I have my chat window open. So if I'm not always looking at the camera, it's because I've got my window open and I want to be able to see who is here with me. So woohoo, Shannon has just typed in going live now, but she was there before everybody else, so I don't count her. If you don't have chat open, you can go to lisalarter.com/chat. And what I've done on my screen, just so you know, is I've got two windows open. So I've got one with the Hangout, and then I've got another one with the chat screen. So they're side by side on my computer monitor so that I can actually follow along. Hi, Heather. Awesome to see you in the chat box. See, that's what I like. I like to know who is here. I wish I could see all of you on the Hangout. It's like awesome. Hi, Curdy. It's great to see people here. That makes me happy. Sometimes when you're doing these and you are, by yourself in front of your computer screen and you can't see other people, you feel like you're just talking to yourself. So it's great to see other people. Wow, 6 a.m. New Zealand. Bridget, that's awesome. And you're working out. I need to work out. Hi, Patricia. See, this is awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Mike. Hi, Patty. Every time I see Mike on Periscope, I'm like, oh, Patty's boy is watching Periscope. But it's probably Patty and Mike watching Periscope together. Anyways, and Adele is here and Tracy's here. It's awesome. I love seeing everybody here. And I have not done this before where I've had chat open for me to see on the screen while I'm doing the presentation. So I thought that I would open it today because I want to be able to see and I want to be able to answer questions as we go along. Amanda got the link. That's awesome. Nicole, is my makeup okay? No, I'm just kidding. Nicole Richards is like a stellar makeup artist. So if you ever need your makeup done, she's the girl. She's a few hours away from me right now. We've got Lisa from Stony Creek. Awesome. Okay, I am like shiny object in chat now. That's maybe not a good thing. Anyway, so I wanted to thank everybody for being here. I wanted to talk about a couple housekeeping things. So first thing is open that window so you have chat open, and that way you can interact on the chat box. And sometimes it's a little bit easier if you have chat open as a separate window than below your screen, because if you're watching the webinar on the screen and the chat box is below, it can get a little weird to be able to watch the chat box and the webinar. So that's why I like to put them side by side on my screen. The other thing I wanted to mention is my Twitter handle is @LisaLarter. So if there's anything that you want to share with me on Twitter, that's how you can connect with me there. I know sometimes people prefer to live tweet than to actually use the chat box. So I will be checking Twitter as well to see if there are any messages coming in from Twitter. I love Twitter for that. And if you're watching this, excuse me, from home or wherever you're watching it on your computer, one of the best ways for you to get good reception on any type of live streaming webinar like this is if you're actually tethered. So I'm sitting here in my office in Annapolis right now, and it's like crazy hot because the sun comes in the windows at the front. But this is where my cable is. And if I were to move into the boardroom where it's a little bit cooler, I don't have the ability to tether. So if you're not plugged right into the internet, that's one way that you can ensure that you get much better reception. We are recording this. We're streaming it live, and we will send a link out to you when we're done. So if for some reason, something happens, somebody comes to the door, you got to leave early, don't worry. We'll send you the link so that you can catch whatever it is that you missed. And then last but not least, what I would like to suggest you do is grab a pen and paper, because as I go through this webinar today and I start talking about sales tips for you, you're probably going to want to take notes. And if you don't have a pen and paper to take notes, then you might forget some of the ideas that come up for you. Sorry, I keep scratching my head. when you are listening to something and you are in the moment, often ideas come to you. And when those ideas come to you, you want to capture them. You don't want to let them go and then think, oh, I'll watch the replay and I'll write that down later. So grab a pen and a piece of paper so that you can write down your ideas. And I will definitely be answering questions as we go along. So I'll be taking little breaks in between the different sections to ask questions from you guys and to respond to some of the questions as I go through this. So let's get started. This webinar is all about, basically strategizing, reprioritizing so that you can hit your sales goals this year. I know that sometimes the summer is a time when we want to play, and because we want to play, sometimes what happens is sales stall and you can feel like giving up. It's only August, but some people are already throwing their arms up in the air and saying, my year is over. What's the point in trying? I don't have enough time to turn things around. It's really easy to give up and withdraw. And so my intention in having this webinar and this topic is to help you get your mojo back in terms of sales from now until the end of the year so that you can turn business around and really make it happen. You might also feel like you've tried everything and nothing seems to be working. So you might be looking for some creative ideas, a way to inspire a new way of thinking, something you hadn't considered before. And if that's the case, then this is a great place for you as well. And maybe you've been coasting. Maybe it's been really easy and all of a sudden sales have stopped and you're wondering what should you do to change things up because you've had it too easy for too long and you got a little bit complacent and your pipeline is now empty. And who knows, maybe you are here and sales are tickety boo and you are just a really, really, really great salesperson. And that as the person who is responsible for sales in your business, it's important that you are always in the game, learning and applying new ways to grow your business. And if that's you, I commend you for not just assuming that things are going to stay great and for investing time in your learning today. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about 5 mistakes that you might be making in the sales process and how to actually do things to overcome those mistakes. These are some of the mistakes that I've made and mistakes that I often see other people make. We're also going to talk about 4 platforms where you can connect with your audience and some of the best ways to do that inside of those platforms. And yeah, of course, I'm going to talk about Periscope. And then we're going to talk about 3 strategies to drive new business, because sometimes when you get stuck, you forget about strategizing. And so I want to open up the pathways in your mind to really think about strategy again and what you can do to really strategize sales. And when you're thinking strategy, it doesn't have to be just for the next couple of months. You could be strategizing for the next 24 months. And if you have a really good strategy, you can keep coming back to that and it will help you to drive sales. We're going to talk about 2 places where you might be leaving money on the table and 1 way to find effortless sales opportunities. There's 1 place you can always go to get sales if you really need sales, provided you're doing a few things really, really well. And I'm going to share that with you. The other thing I just want to mention right at the very beginning, I like to talk about the elephant in the room. And there's an elephant in the room, right? You don't sign up for these webinars for free. You sign up for these webinars and in exchange, you give your email address. In exchange, you give your time. In exchange, you give your awareness. And in exchange, you often get pitched to. And so this is a webinar on selling. I wouldn't be doing you any service today if I didn't sell something to you, if I didn't pitch something to you. So there's a couple of things that I want you to think about in terms of that. The first thing is I'm going to give you tons of great value while you're here. So if you're having resistance and a little bit of ickiness over the fact that I'm going to offer you a way to keep working with me at the end of this, you have a little bit of a sales mindset problem that you might want to work through, because that could be holding you back in your own sales presentation. Because nobody is going to force you to buy while you're here. Now, there's going to be all kinds of people watching this webinar, and whether you buy or not is completely up to you. There's no voodoo mind tricks. There's no, I'm not trained on NLP. I'm not using any crazy persuasion tactics. Oh, my chat thing is stopping. Is it reloading? Yeah, it's reloading. I'm not doing any of that voodoo Chris Angel line freak stuff to trick you into buying. So relax. If anything, learn from my pitch. Learn, ooh, what did she do well? Ooh, where did she trip up? Ooh, how did people respond? This is a webinar about sales. So take the opportunity to observe and learn from the process instead of criticizing and being upset. Like sometimes people get really defensive about the fact that somebody is pitching something and they forget that that's that person's business. So the elephant in the room is pretty simple. If you want to know what it is, you can go to lisalarter.com/P2P. That's lisalarter.com, P2P. And plain and simple, what I have done is I've taken all of my programs, the pilot project, the content pilot, the sales pilot, modern marketing, everything that I have, and I've put it into one place so that I can serve and lead one community. And I have one simple offering if you want to work with me online, and I'm going to give people regular recurring social media webinars. I'm going to bring in a whole bunch of my really cool influential friends to teach you about topics that they're really good at. And I've made it so that you can either access monthly or you can access with a one-time payment and have a lifetime access. So I'll go into the details with you later, but reality is this is a webinar on sales. And my intention is to help you sell more. And when I created the pilot project, my intention was to help you build a business that made money. When I created the content pilot, my intention was to help you create content so that people could find you so you could actually sell more. And when I created the sales pilot, it was to teach you how to sell better so you can make more money. So my intention is always about serving you and helping you increase sales and profits in your business and giving you access to that type of support in a way that is affordable if you can't afford to work with me privately. So there's the elephant in the room. It's out. And if you've done the pilot project, the content pilot, or the sales pilot, you should check your inbox because I sent you a little something yesterday to say thank you for that. So before you jump in and make a decision on whether or not this program is for you, you might want to read that email. Just saying. All righty. So, oh, Lisa Balthazar, I love that. I want to give you hearts. No hearts, no hearts. But you can give me hearts on Twitter. You can tweet me hearts or what else could you do? I don't know. But Lisa, yesterday was your birthday. So happy birthday. And Nicole, makeup artist Nicole, today is her birthday. And she is here on this webinar for her birthday. How awesome is that? Can everybody say happy birthday, Nicole? Happy birthday, Nicole. And happy birthday, Lisa. Birthdays are awesome, aren't they? All right. So who am I? Obviously, my name is Lisa Larter. You all know that I am Lisa Larter. Oops, what have I done? Somebody just said they didn't hear anything. I don't hear anything. Shannon, we have a Linda McGahan who can't hear. I don't know if you can help her or not. I'm assuming you can hear me because I can see the audio buttons on my webinar. Can everybody else hear me okay? Can I get something? You hear me? Okay, awesome. Okay, so who am I? Well, I am me. And my path is pretty unique. I, was raised by my mom, who was a single mom. So kudos to all the single moms out there who are doing a really good job raising their kids. I was a bratty teenager. I dropped out of high school my last year, halfway through before I was done. I met a boy. And I was more interested in hanging out with him than I was finishing my studies and getting good grades. And the truth is I had some financial challenges in my life back then, and I needed to find a way to make money to support myself. So quitting school, part of it was brattiness, and part of it was being pragmatic about what was going on in my life. Regardless, I did quit school. I didn't finish. I don't think that that is the path for everyone. I am an avid believer that you should educate yourself as much as possible. But I like to share that I did that because a lot of people look at what I've created in my life, and they're surprised that I'm a high school dropout. And so I share that with you because you are not your education, you are not your disease, you are not your financial situation. You can do anything you want in life if you really, really want it. You just have to decide, and then you have to act in order to get it. I have dabbled in entrepreneurship since I was a kid, but I left my corporate job to start my own business in 2006. In 2006, I opened a retail TELUS dealership in Ontario, and I ran that until 2012. I sold that business in 2012, which was impressive because a lot of people were literally walking away. The wireless industry has changed. It's just shifted a little bit here, so I'm not showing off my cleavage. The wireless industry has changed quite a bit in the last few years, and it became really hard for people to make money. And one of the reasons that I sold my business and walked away was because in 2009, I started doing this 1 day a week, and then it was 2 days a week, and then it was all week. And so by 2012, I had been an absentee owner for 2 years. This idea to start this business started when I was out here in Nova Scotia one time, and I decided I wanted to create a business. I wanted to set up a website. I wanted to find people online that I could help build their business. And so now, several years later, that's what I do on a full-time level, and I have a team. When I started out, I think within the first couple of years, my business hit the 6-figure mark. My store did over 7 figures in retail sales, but the profit margins are pretty skinny. So, although people tell you, oh, multi-6 and multi-7 and $100,000 month and $1 million launch and all that stuff, what they often don't talk about is the cost of goods or how much money they put in the game and what their profit was. And I can tell you that the profitability of my business today is much better at $500,000 a year than my business was when I was doing over $1 million a year, because it's a different type of business. So what else can I tell you? I'm an avid learner. I have 2 dogs. I love my dogs. I split my time between Nova Scotia and Naples, Florida. I'm living my dream right now. My husband is building us a house on the Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia. You may have seen some pictures on Facebook, and that's me. I'm happy to be here, and I think my life is pretty awesome. And I also think that I'm responsible for my life. And I think you are responsible for your life too. So, why am I qualified to teach you about sales? Well, I've been selling since I was 12 years old, okay? 12 years old. That means I've been selling for 33 years. That's a long time. Excuse me. Karen, yes, Shannon does do a great job. I agree. I started selling when I was 12 because I wanted to buy designer jeans, and my mom was like, no, I don't have enough money for you to buy designer jeans. You need to make money. So I brought things to the flea market, and I learned how to sell at 12 years old. And the amazing thing when I was 12 years old is I wasn't afraid of rejection. I wasn't afraid of asking people if they wanted to buy something. I wasn't attached to what other people thought. So I just became a natural salesperson at that age. Then when I got a job later on working for a department store, the owner of that department store told me to leave people alone who were just looking. To me, that was like the worst thing you could do. That meant that work was boring. So I always kind of challenged myself to see who could I get to buy something that said they were just looking. And that was the brattiness in me coming out as a teenager, because I didn't really care about sales back then. That wasn't my mission. My mission was boredom. I wanted to eliminate boredom by interacting with customers and finding something that they would like so that they would talk to me and they would end up buying it because it made the time go by faster. So again, no fear of people not buying. I was just kind of motivated by the challenge of selling. But that natural ability to talk to people and help them to find things that they wanted to buy made it really easy for me to do well when I started to work in retail. I was always one of the top salespeople for the retail companies that I worked for. And what happens is when you're a good salesperson in retail, they promote you. And so when I got promoted to store manager, I then needed to learn how to teach other people how to sell. And I was only as good as what I could teach them to do, because now I wasn't just responsible for hitting my personal numbers, I had to hit store numbers. When I worked at TELUS and I got promoted and promoted and promoted, I eventually had to lead a team of senior managers to hit a very large number of sales each year. When I was there last, I think our goal was $100 million a year in sales, which was huge. And you can't hit those numbers all by yourself. And you can't hit those numbers without some type of salesmanship and an ability to lead and inspire others. And when you have a team, your leadership skills really are salesmanship skills. You got to be able to influence and inspire people to take action if you want to be able to make money in your business through the efforts of your team. And then, I opened my own business. And I have to tell you, when I first opened my own business, things got a little wonky, because when it's a job, you just do what you're supposed to do because it's a job. And when you open your own business, all of a sudden you think, oh my goodness, I can't ask that much money. Oh, I should give this widget away for free, right? Because I want people to like me. I want people to shop at my store. I want people to keep coming back. And you can actually self-sabotage yourself. So I find when you first start being responsible for sales in your own business, a lot of times that gut comes up in your head, and that prevents you from being able to sell. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. The one thing that I know is true for sure is selling is a skill. There is a methodology to selling, and if you understand the process of selling and you continuously work on strengthening the skill, you can become a really good salesperson. Even if you follow the same simple system over and over and over again, if you are committed to the system and you're committed to doing the work, you're committed to asking people questions about their needs, presenting the right information, asking for the sale, if you just do that basic stuff over and over again, instead of shrink back and get all afraid of it, you can actually create a pretty decent living for yourself. You don't have to be a rock star salesperson. You have to be a rock star system follower. Okay, that's a tweetable. You don't have to be a rock star salesperson. You have to be a rock star system follower. And there are systems for selling, and they're almost the same regardless of where you go. They work. That's why there are systems. That's why big organizations do so much sales training, because they know that when they train people, they can move the needle and they can increase sales. It's not magic. They just focus on skill. They focus on getting people to learn the system and follow the system over and over and over again. So if big organizations can do that, so can you. It's learnable. So let's talk a little bit about the mistakes people make. And I want you to think about, which of these mistakes do you make? And maybe you can post them in the chat box and tell me, what mistakes are you making when it comes to selling? So the first mistake that you might be making when it comes to selling is telling isn't selling. Have you ever gone into a store? Maybe you're shopping for a new computer and you go into Best Buy, and all of a sudden the person is like, oh, this computer is really great. It's got, X amount of RAM and X gigabyte of this, and you can game on it and you can do this. And they start talking about all the technical stuff, and it's like they're talking at you. They're just spewing information at you. That's telling. That's not selling. Telling isn't selling. Selling is about understanding what somebody needs and giving them that. If I walk into a store and I'm looking for slippers and you show me long johns, I'm not going to buy. If I walk into a store, I'm looking for something specific. It's your job as a salesperson to identify what are my needs and sell me that. We used to have a rule that you couldn't actually talk about things that the customer wasn't interested in. So one of the things that I always do when I'm talking to people is I go through a lot of inquiry. You really need to inquire and understand, what is it that your customer is looking for? What are their needs? And you want to ask open-ended questions, not just narrow yes or no questions, because the more information you gather about what their needs are, the easier it is for you to present a solution to them that meet their needs. But you know what? It takes time to ask questions and uncover needs. It's a lot easier to just tell somebody what you think they need without doing any work and then say, well, I tried, even when they didn't buy. So one of the number one mistakes people make is telling, and you can overcome telling by inquiry. Ask questions, understand what your customer needs, and only present to them a solution that meets those needs. Avoid getting caught up in jargon and talking about things that don't matter to your customers. Number two mistake people make is you're not measuring what matters. All right? Numbers don't lie. People may have feelings and opinions, but numbers, they don't lie, let me tell you. And if you understand how to break down the metrics in your business, you understand how to actually slice and dice the numbers, and you understand when somebody's not adding on, when somebody's not selling enough, when your transactions are low, when your pipeline is low. Like if you can actually measure all the different inputs that affect your business and understand the correlation, then you are in a much better position to do something to positively impact sales. But I got to tell you, and ladies, I'm sorry, almost every single woman that I work with doesn't look at their numbers. They don't know their numbers. I don't know. Tell me on the chat box, yes or no. Do you know within like $1,000 exactly how much revenue your business has done so far this year? Do you? I do. I know exactly how much my business has done this year, and I know exactly what percentage I'm up over last year. And I look at those numbers all the time because those numbers are my guideposts to tell me how I'm doing. They let me know when I'm behind and I need to step on the gas. They let me know when I'm doing okay. But people don't measure the numbers, and they use excuses like, oh, I'm not good with numbers. You own a business. You have to be good with numbers. And if you want to sell more, you have got to measure what matters. All right, I'm seeing lots of yeses. Good. Congratulations, you ladies who are yeses. That is amazing. Awesome. The next mistake people make is closing the sale. Closing makes them uncomfortable, so they don't ask for the sale. They dance around the sale. They wait for somebody to say whether they want to buy or not. And when you're waiting to see if somebody wants to buy or not, you create all kinds of discomfort for your client. Because the client's like, how come you're not asking me for the sale? And so now you've created this tension in between you and the client, because you're waiting for them to say, okay, do you want to do this or do you want to buy this? And you're not saying it. And so now they're thinking, well, maybe she doesn't want me to buy, and all this crazy stuff goes on in their mind, and you are losing the opportunity to get the sale. One of the things that I like to do when I'm selling, depending on what it is I will either show two widgets. So I'll go like this. I've got this one and I've got this one. Which do you prefer? So whether it's coaching, I've got a group coaching program that's this much. I've got a private coaching program that's this much. Which do you think would be better for you? Or I've got red shoes and black shoes. Which do you think would serve you better? Which do you like better? That's one of the ways that I find really easy to ask people to decide, because you're not asking them, do you want to buy this phone? You're saying, which of these things would you like to go with today? And I find that's a little bit of an easier close. But what's not okay is for you to show me these two things and not even ask me if I want to buy. If you just stand there and you wait, it's like you're a grocery store clerk. You need to ask people to make a decision. You need to ask people, would you like to buy this? How would you like to pay for this? When would you like to start? You want to be bold enough to ask them to make a decision, and you can't let no hurt you. But what you can do is you can take no as an opportunity to ask them, what is it about these two widgets that doesn't meet your needs? Because maybe the widget you were supposed to show them was this one. And if you ask another question, you have an opportunity to recover and potentially close the sale. But if you're not asking, if you're just standing there waiting for somebody to tell you, then you're going to wait a long time because you are responsible for sales. When you actually ask people to make a decision, they will make a decision, and then you know. And if the answer is no, great. You can now move on to the next person who's interested in what you do. The fourth mistake that people make is serving as secondary. I hear people talk about discovery calls and how they've been taught to go on a discovery call and only ask questions and don't offer any support, don't do anything to help people, and then close the sale. Well, if you want me to buy from you, don't you think you should give me a little bit of value? I think that when somebody is interested in doing business with you, you want to demonstrate your A game. You want to show up and serve. So here I am. I have something that I'm going to offer you later today on this webinar as a way to keep working with me. And I am working it. I'm trying to give you valuable information here. But if all I did was skim over 10 bullet points and say, okay, now let's talk about sales and how you can work with me, and I spent 40 minutes out of 60 pitching you without giving you any value, you'd probably be a little cheesed off at me. So demonstrate value. Show people that you have something of value to offer them. Service people, take good care of them, and you will be amazed at how many people buy easily because they're already sold before you even ask them for the sale. The last mistake that people make, and I see this with social media all the time, so I don't know if you're guilty of this or not. You can tell me in the chat box. Do you check every social network you have a presence on every single day to see if you have a lead in your inbox? Yes or no? Do you respond to every single inquiry that comes into your inbox that is an interest in working with you every day? Yes or no? Do you respond to voicemails that come in every single day? Yes or no? The biggest mistake people make is you're way too freaking slow to respond. Your sense of urgency is a 0 and it should be a 10. I've had people respond to messages on Facebook 2 months after the fact. I've had people never return phone calls. You see this type of thing all the time, and those are the very people that often complain about not having sales. You've got to have a process in place and a high sense of urgency in terms of getting back to your clients, because if you're not getting back to people in a timely manner, and in today's world, you got to get back to them really, really, really fast, because if you don't, they just go on to the next person. They're looking for instant gratification. And if you're not responding in a quick manner, you're losing the opportunity to do business with those people because they're going elsewhere. So let's talk about 4 platforms where you should be to try to find customers. But before I move into the 4 platforms and get into some of the stuff about the 4 platforms, does anybody have any questions about the mistakes that I just covered? Anybody have any questions that they would like me to answer? Just going to scroll through my chat here. Sounds like everybody responds to inquiries fast. That is amazing, because I don't see it happening out there all the time. That's for sure. No questions? All right. And if any come in, I'll answer them after. Or I'll pause. We're all among friends here. So 4 platforms that I believe you should be on. First thing I would say, before you even talk about these platforms, it's not about the platform, it's about the people. All right? If you focus on building relationships first, then these platforms will work for you. But if you don't focus on relationships and you don't focus on people first, none of these platforms will work for you. So don't think that just because you are on these platforms that they're going to work if you're not interested in building relationships with people, because they won't. So the first place that I say is a really good place for you to be is Facebook. And specifically, the one spot that I find to be extremely useful today is Facebook groups. Facebook groups are a really great way for you to connect and build relationships with people. You might not want to pitch inside of somebody else's group, but you can definitely get to know people. You can add friends. You can get into Facebook chat and have conversations. You can comment on things people are posting. It's a really, really great way for people to see you and to know what you do. But if you're joining groups and you are quiet, you're pretty much invisible. So you really need to have a presence inside of these groups if you want the groups to help you generate any type of revenue, or you want these groups to help you build your list, or whatever your objectives are. So Facebook groups are absolutely happening, but you got to work it. You got to show up. You got to talk to people. You need to build relationships with people. The other thing that I think is important with Facebook is your Facebook page. And I know Facebook page engagement is painful right now. A lot of people are not getting engagement unless you're using some type of ad. But the truth is, you can't use Facebook ads if you don't have a Facebook page successfully. Margaret, yes, there is a recording. So you can get the recording later on. Sorry, I just saw that question pop in. Your Facebook page is often a place where people go to check you out, to see what you are all about. And as I say this, I realize that I haven't updated my Facebook page in the last couple of days, but I do have Facebook ads that are running almost all the time. Your Facebook page is a way that you can get people to connect with you, not just through Facebook, but also through your website. You can have your like box on your website. You can have a like box or a Facebook button inside of the newsletter that you send out to people. There are lots of ways to get people to connect with your page so that you can then interact with them further, whether it's through Facebook ads or whatever. I think your page is still an important place for you to have a presence, because I think that sometimes people are uncomfortable just sending you a friend request because they don't want to be your friend. They want to do business with you. And specifically, if you have a business like, maybe you have a retail store, you absolutely want to ensure that you have a Facebook page for your retail store, because they're not going to just reach out to you personally. They want to be able to access your business. So absolutely, your Facebook page still matters. Twitter is the next platform that I think is really important. And, two things that I think really matter when it comes to using Twitter are Twitter lists, so that you can interact with the right people, and keyword searches on Twitter. You can find people that are looking for what you offer. You can answer questions that people have if you do a really good job of using Twitter search functions. Business page, Leslie, yeah, absolutely. Because your personal page typically is your personal page. And although you can enable your personal page so that people can follow your updates, people are not always comfortable adding you as a friend, and you can only have 5,000 friends on Facebook. So if you use your page on a regular basis and you combine your posts with Facebook ads, and there's a whole kind of a boomerang effect that you can have with Facebook ads, because you can have an ad that targets anybody who was on your website, and then when they come back to Facebook, they see your ads in Facebook. So now your visibility is improving, and it makes it easier for you to connect with those people, or for those people to see what it is you have to offer. So don't underestimate the value of your page. And even boosting posts on Facebook now, you can target specific audiences when you're boosting a post so that that content gets in front of people. I'm going to do a whole separate webinar on Facebook ads and the methodology that I believe is a good way to utilize Facebook at another time. I'm actually going to do it for people who are in the Pilot to Profit group. So stay tuned. That is in the very, very near future. So back to Twitter. You want to use Facebook lists, and the reason you want to use Facebook lists is if you understand who your client is, you can list people accordingly. You can list people that are a good match with the type of person that you would like to do business with, and you can focus on building relationships with those people. You can also list your existing clients, so it makes it really easy for you to pay attention to them and see what they're posting on Facebook. You can save searches for keywords. So here I am. I'm in Annapolis, Royal, Nova Scotia, and we just opened a hub. So I'm in my office. You can pay to work here. And if I wanted to, I could set up a saved search term for Annapolis Royal or any of the areas around Annapolis Royal. And I could then look to see who's talking about visiting the area. And I could maybe offer them a free hour of internet service when they're in the area if I wanted, as a way to drive traffic into my physical location. But if I'm not listening, then I can't offer that to those people. So those are the two things that I think are really valuable on Twitter, is utilizing lists so that you can focus your time, effort, and energy on the people you want to build relationships with, and utilizing saved search terms and hashtags so that you can listen and find people, and then strategically using your own hashtags so people can find you. LinkedIn is another great platform, especially if you are in the B2B space. If you're in the B2B space, LinkedIn is your calling card. People are checking out your profile all the time, so make sure your profile is public so people can actually read what you're all about. And if you haven't started using LinkedIn publishing for published posts, sorry, it's so hot in here, my hands are swelling. You want to start using published posts, because as soon as you start using published posts, people can follow your published post updates, which is another way for you to get people to know about you. Because sometimes what happens on LinkedIn, oops, I just lost my spot because I've got, my little cheat sheet up so I remember what I want to talk to you guys about. Sometimes what happens on LinkedIn is people don't want to send you a connection request, but they want to follow your updates. And so when you enable publishing, you allow them to be able to follow your updates without having to send you a connection request. Then what you can do is, when people are actually following your published posts and they're commenting on them, you can take a look at their profiles and you can add those people as connections if you want on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really great for relationship building. But one of the mistakes people make is they add all kinds of connections and then they try to sell through the inbox. So if you want to build relationships with people on LinkedIn, use the inbox to get to know them. Use the inbox to offer them something for free. Use the inbox to set up a call where you can get to know, what their business is about and how you might be able to help each other. Don't use the inbox to message them and 24 other people to pitch your newest service, because that just gets you removed as a connection and creates a bad first impression. That's not what you want to use the LinkedIn inbox for. If you've ever received one of those messages, you know what it feels like. It's kind of sleazy. It's like getting a cold call or one of those automated spam voicemail messages that everybody hates. You just don't do that stuff to people. Build a relationship first. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. That doesn't change. You guys are all here. When I look through the chat box, I see lots of people here who have done business with me, who have been on previous webinars, or who are in my groups. You're here for a reason. You know me, you like me, and you trust me. You need to build that relationship with people on all the social platforms that you use, and that takes time. The last platform that I want to talk about is Periscope. And I got to tell you, I'm loving Periscope. I've been doing these early morning Periscopes where I just share information. I had one this week. The topic was how to get paid what you're worth. And I had so much fun. I had so many questions at the end that I was able to answer. It was really, really enjoyable for me. And Periscope is a live streaming application where, just like this, Google Hangouts, you can do a broadcast like this from your mobile phone, and you can reach a whole new audience by using the right keywords and topics. Again, build value, connect with people, give them a call to action, but don't try to sell them something. Maybe invite them to join a Facebook group, invite them to follow you on Twitter, invite them to sign up for your webinar. Give them an easy way to stay connected to you, to take that connection a step further without actually selling to them. And if you build a relationship with those people, the selling part becomes easy. But if you're just going out there and you're telling, remember, telling isn't selling. You need to build value first. All right, I had a question over here. Let me see it. If you use LinkedIn, if target clients are executives, right? I don't think LinkedIn is just for executives. I think LinkedIn is really anybody who's in the B2B market. So I use LinkedIn because I use LinkedIn because people there who are business owners are often looking for strategy help, business consulting, or business coaching. I have clients who are consultants in the B2B space, and they use LinkedIn for that reason. The one thing a lot of people don't realize about LinkedIn is LinkedIn has a very robust search function. If you go to LinkedIn and you search a topic, like a keyword, you can find people, you can find groups, you can find organizations, and LinkedIn has amazing ads as well. You can target by job function and company on LinkedIn, which I really, really, really like. So if you know, this is what it all boils down to. You need to know who your target audience is. And if you know who your client is, then there's a bazillion different ways that you can connect and reach your client. But if all you're doing is spray and pray marketing, you're not trying to connect with the right people, none of this will work for you. You need to know who that person is that you want to do business with. So Periscope is great. I'm not using Catch yet. I should use Catch. What I've been doing on Periscope is I will share the link to Periscope after for the replay in my Profit Primer group on Facebook. And I will share the actual recording in groups where people pay to work with me. So I will I'll put the video in the Pilot to Profit group as an example. I'll put it where my Profit Pods group coaching is, or I'll put it in my VIP group. And that way, the people who do business with me can watch and stop and rewind because they get the actual download of the video. Leslie has a question here. If I'm a life coach, so my focus is not B2B. I want to use LinkedIn to attract executive women clients for my coaching services. Well, that is I guess you're right. It's not B2B in a sense. You're looking for executive women. So those executive women are businesses, but you are business women, but you're more of a consumer facing business. So what I mean by that is you're looking to target the actual individual. You're not looking to target the organization. You can still use LinkedIn for that. It doesn't matter if you are strictly B2B or B2C. If you have a business type service, I think LinkedIn can work for you. If the people who you want to buy your service are there and they're active on LinkedIn, then there is an opportunity for you to build a relationship with them. I think anybody who is in a coaching, whether it's life coaching, business coaching, nutritional coaching, any type of service like that can help someone who is in professional services, corporate services, or entrepreneurial areas, you can find those people on LinkedIn easily. Just know if your people are there. I'm glad you like my morning Periscopes, Amanda. You were one of the people who gave me the most hearts and the encouragement to keep doing it. So thank you. Okay, so any questions about those platforms before I move on to 3 strategies to drive new business? You're not consumer to business, you're business to consumer, Leslie, because you are a business. So you are trying to attract a professional consumer who works for a business. I like LinkedIn to attract corporate orders for custom cookie businesses. That's great. If you know who the executive assistants are who are responsible for making those buying decisions, Susan, that's a great way to use LinkedIn. If your buyer is on LinkedIn, then you should be there. If your buyer is not on LinkedIn, then maybe you shouldn't be there. Same thing with Facebook. If your buyer is on Facebook, you should use Facebook. I get this question all the time. People are always asking me, I'm in B2B, should I use Facebook? I'm like, well, are your clients on Facebook? Because if the clients that you currently work with are on Facebook, chances are there's other B2B clients on Facebook. But if you're dealing, I worked with a company that was in the oil and gas industry a few years ago, and we searched Facebook high and low for executives in oil and gas, and we couldn't find them. And so we decided Facebook was not a good target at that time for the people that they were looking for. LinkedIn was a much better match. But it requires you to know who the heck you're trying to do business with in order to discern whether or not the platform works for you. All right. Okay, so strategies to drive new business. The number one strategy, in my opinion, starts with evaluating where you really are. If you don't know where you're at, if you do not have the ability to evaluate what your current reality is and what you need to do to change your current reality, if you don't know what that is and what's going well and what's not going well, then what you typically end up doing is you go down what I call creative rabbit holes. If you can't evaluate, when I do this, this is working, and therefore I need to do more of this, if you can't evaluate your or if you don't have a strategy, then you need to create a strategy and evaluate how successful your strategy is at helping you to meet your business objectives. So when I teach people strategy, I teach them an acronym. I call it POST-IT. P stands for people, O stands for objectives, S stands for strategy, T stands for tactics, I stands for information, and T stands for technology. If you don't know who your people are and what your objectives are, you can't evaluate your current strategy. So you need to get clear on what your existing strategy is and make sure it's solid. And then you need to evaluate your current reality on a regular basis so that you know when it's time to change course directions. I see people often running their business on the same strategy, but they're not making any money because they haven't taken a look at their profit margins. And so although what they're doing might be working, they're bleeding their business because there's not enough profit in what they're doing for them to sustain the business. So the first thing you want to do when it comes to driving new business is really take a good hard look at your current reality so you can discern what is working for you and what is not working for you. The second thing that you want to do is when you evaluate your current reality is discern what is working and do more of that. You don't want to reinvent the wheel if there's a couple of things that you do that are really generating good results. But if you don't know what's working, it's virtually impossible to do more of it because you don't know what it is. That's why measuring what matters is so important. It's important that you look at your business on a regular basis so that you know the levers that you press, which ones are actually helping you to grow and build your business, which ones are helping you generate more sales, which ones are putting leads into your pipeline. If you don't know those things, then you can't do more of those things. And basically, what you're doing is you're winging it and you're hoping it works out. And when you wing it and hope it works out, it rarely ends well. So you want to evaluate your current reality, make sure that you've got a really good picture of what your strategy is, and then you want to really assess what's working so you can eliminate the things that are not working and you can do more of what is working. Sometimes you don't need to reinvent the entire wheel. All you need to do is either add a couple of spokes or remove a couple of spokes, and the wheel will work a lot better. If I were to give you a brand new car, but one tire was flat and ask you to drive from here to my house, you'd have a really hard time getting there, even though you've got 3 tires that are working really, really well. The one tire that is flat is going to make it virtually impossible for you to move forward. It's going to be really, really hard, or it's going to be really, really lumpy. It's not going to be a pleasant experience. Well, that might be happening in your business right now. Your wheel might have a couple of spokes that are broken, and you need to figure out what they are and eliminate those spokes and strengthen the ones that are actually working well for you. And you can't do that unless you do the first thing, which is really evaluate where things are at. And then the last thing that I would say you need to do is figure out revenue generating ideas to close the gap. What are some of the things that you can do to close the gap? I'm going to come back to that. I'm just going to answer what is post-it. So P is people, O is objectives, S is strategy, T is tactics, I is information, and T is tools and technology. So revenue generating ideas to close the gap. Figure out where you need more revenue. So if you go back to one of my original profit primers, I talked about big rocks, pebbles, and sand. Knowing what are the big rocks you need in your business, what are the pebbles you need, and what are the sand, and how too many people focus on the sand instead of the big rocks. And if you actually focus on the big rocks, you can move your business to get further faster. It's a lot easier for me to have a $50,000 month when I'm selling $5,000 widgets than it is when I'm selling $5 widgets. So you want to identify where the gap is in your revenue model or your projections and figure out what can you do. And for me, it's always easier to go after the big rocks than it is to go after the low-hanging fruit. You know, here I am today. I'm offering you guys a webinar. I'm offering you an opportunity to basically work with me for $47 a month or for a one-time fee of $500. I have coaching clients that pay up to $25,000 a year to work with me. I have consulting clients that pay up to $50,000. So it's a lot easier for me to close a $50,000 piece of business because, you know, it's the same level of effort. I'm here for an hour. I'm talking to you guys. I got to prepare. I got to do my due diligence. I got to make an offer. I got to ask you to make a decision. I got to follow the same sales methodology. So think about that. Are you spinning your wheels in the wrong place? Do you need to make more effort or make a more concerted effort to get bigger businesses or bigger chunks of money, bigger revenue generating pieces of business in your sales pipeline? Maybe everything you're selling is too low of a price point. You got to find a way to add a premium price point to the mix so that you can meet your goals faster. You know, I had a brainstorming conversation with a client of mine this week on ways that she could generate fast money. And maybe that's one of the things that you need to do is sit and think about, how do you generate fast money? If my life depended on me generating $5,000 today in business, I could do it. I could do it. And I could do it because I could discount my services, or I could put together an irrefusable bundle and get somebody who is interested in doing business with me to buy. I could go back to an existing client and offer them a deal that is an absolute no-brainer and generate that income in my business today if I needed to do that. Could you? And if you can't, why can't you? You can. You just need to think through, how do you do that? Here's the biggest problem. Most people do not consider themselves revenue generators. They don't actually think about revenue generation in their business. They act like grocery store clerks. They're waiting for people to come to them. Stop being a grocery store clerk. Start being a revenue generator. And if you don't have revenue generating ideas, then you need to be in the program that I'm offering today so you can ask for those ideas and get coaching on a regular basis. Because when you get one good idea and you take that idea and you apply it, you can generate tens of thousands of dollars. All right. Question, do you mean do the same work regardless of the price you offer? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Vesna. Can you expand that question? So what I was saying is I could generate $5,000, but I'm not sure what I need more context around your question. So give me a little bit more context and I'll come back and answer that question for you. Any other questions about how to drive new business or how to generate revenue? I'm going to give you guys a second or two to let the chat box catch up, and I'm going to see if anybody's tweeted anything, if there are any tweeter questions. It is warm in here. Woo, 20 tweets. Ooh, I got an unplanned shout out on Periscope. Thanks, Lisa. All right, no questions. So do you go in with the same mindset? I'm not sure what you mean, Vesna. My mindset is always that it's my responsibility to generate business. Do I go in with the same mindset when I'm approaching like a $20,000 deal or a $47 deal? Absolutely. And I'll tell you what my mindset is. I'm not attached to the outcome. I am not attached to the outcome. I'm not here to force you to buy. I'm not here to manipulate you into buying. I'm here to give you the best damned experience I can when you do decide to do business with me. That I can control. I cannot control the decisions that other people make. So I show up and I give 100%, whether it's a $47 a month program or whether it's a $50,000 piece of business. I give 100%, but I really remain detached from the outcome. Doesn't mean, don't confuse what I'm saying here with not caring. Not caring would mean I don't care what happens and I don't necessarily put the level of effort in that is required to generate the business. That's different. I care. I care whether people decide to continue to do business with me or they decide to do business with me. I care very much so, but I'm not attached to the outcome. Meaning, if I finish this webinar today and not one person on the webinar decides to join me in the Pilot to Profit system, I am going to serve 100% the people who are there. And I know that somebody will join at some point. I'm not attached to the decision people make. I don't take it personally. And I think that's what happens sometimes is when you're selling things, you take it personally. And when you take it personally and your little feelings get hurt, then you react emotionally instead of from a place of reasoning. And so I used to take it personally. I used to get really attached. I used to come to these webinars and I used to think, oh my God, if I don't sell 6 figures on this webinar, I'm a failure, because I used to compare myself to other people and I used to think that I should be a certain way. Now I don't. I concern myself with showing up and offering the best value that I can. And I trust that if I do a really good job of offering value, people will make the decision to work with me if and when it's right. I never want people to feel forced into working with me. I want people to be like, oh my God, I just got the deal of a century, whether they pay $47,000 or whether they pay $50,000. I have a client who has worked with me for 2 years now. She pays me $30-some thousand a year. And she sent me a text message this week. And that text message was thanking me because she crossed the 1.3 million mark in her business. And she wanted me to know that she believes that my contribution in helping her increase her visibility online has helped her to get there. That matters to me. So it doesn't matter whether you're spending $47,000 or $50,000. I'm going to do everything I can to make you feel like you got exceptional value for your investment. So that's what I focus on more than being attached to the outcome. Because if I get attached to the outcome, what happens is you get all down on yourself and now it's your fault and you did something wrong and all that stuff. And then it's like, did you really? Maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe the offer was wrong. Maybe, they're going to buy tomorrow. Like, you just can't be attached. The only thing you can be attached to is giving good value and not giving up. You have to be attached to not giving up. Tough not to be attached when you're starting out and that program is all you have. How long did it take you to not attach? It took me a couple of years to not attach, Leslie. I used to take it really personally. I used to get pains in my stomach when I did webinars like this because I used to judge myself as not being good at what I was doing if people didn't buy. And then I would just kind of be in this dark place and, I'm not very good and I'm not cut out to do this, yada, yada, yada. But then when I would sell to people one-on-one, face-to-face, I would have no problem selling. So I knew that it wasn't about what it was. It wasn't about me and what I was offering. It was about the audience that I was attracting, and the offer wasn't necessarily in alignment with them. The other thing that I did is I tried to be like other people, and I tried to sell these $2,000 programs that people didn't want to buy. And then when I started to say, look, I want to have a low price point that's an easy entry level price where I can really serve people. And because really what jazzes me is a community of people that are engaged and getting value out of what I'm doing. And when I started focusing on that instead of, comparing and evaluating myself or judging myself, it was a lot easier to become unattached. Bye, Diane. All right. Okay, so let's move to the next one, which is 2 places you are leaving money on the table. All right. If you do email marketing, if you send emails out to people and you try to sell via emails, the number one place you're leaving money on the table is by not following up with the people who click the links in your emails. All right, and I used to do that. Leslie, I used to send emails. I go, nobody bought. I suck. And then I got smart. I went, all right, I sent an email. Nobody bought. Who clicked the link? Shannon, send me the list. Now I know who clicked the link. Now I know who I'm talking to. And when I see Leslie's name in there, I can craft an email to Leslie and I can talk directly to Leslie because I know she's interested in my Profit Pod group coaching program. So I can send a message to her and I can talk to her in my messaging differently than when I'm talking to my entire list. And that dramatically changed my ability to close sales through email marketing. So you have got to follow up on who clicked the link. And I believe you have got to look at the names on that list, because if you have a relationship with the people in your community, when you see those names, you know how to talk to people. I know that I'm a damn good salesperson when I am face-to-face, belly-to-belly, heart-to-heart with somebody. But sometimes when I write my copy, I'm not as good. But as soon as I see that person, all of a sudden my copy, my language, and the way that I communicate changes because I know who that person is. So the way that I talk to them is different than when I'm just trying to craft good sales copy. So that's the number one thing that I would say to you is strategically follow up with the people who have clicked links and send, even if you have to send customized messages to those people or reach out to have conversations with those people, those are leads. They didn't click on that link for no reason. Maybe they were just curious, but they're interested in what you got going on and they wouldn't have clicked on that link. Don't kid yourself. And if they clicked on that link 5 times, they're really deliberating whether or not they want to do business with you. So you have these tools for a reason. But the majority of people that I talk to never, ever look to see who clicked the link. They never look to see who clicked the link and who are the names of those people. They might look and say, 28 people clicked the link, but they don't look at who those 28 people are. If you're not looking at who the people are and tailoring your message to the people, you have a problem. One, you don't know who your audience is. You haven't built relationships with them. If you look at those names, you don't have a clue who they are. And 2, not looking at the link is an information problem. You might not have a sales problem. You might have an information problem. And the information problem that you have is you don't know who's interested. And that information is there for the taking. Go find it, look at it, obsess over it. Number 2, stop making assumptions over what people can or cannot afford. Okay? You do this. You judge people. Yeah. You go, oh, my people can't afford to spend that much money. Oh, my people can't afford to spend, that much money. Oh, my people can only afford $47. Oh, my people will never spend $5,000 for a coaching program. And then, you decide to do something with me and you invite all your people to an event and I speak and I sell a $5,000 program and all your people run to the front of the room and you're like, what is going on? I didn't think they had any money. Yeah, happens all the frickin' time. So stop prejudging who can and who cannot afford what you're selling and start focusing on how you're offering value and how you are actually showing up and offering what you're selling. If you want people to pay you big money, are you worth it? Are you giving them enough value for the money that you're charging? I had somebody spend $5,000 last year who got a $100,000 increase in sales in 6 months. I've had people go through my sales pilot and quadruple their sales. Are you actually helping people get value based on what it is you offer? And if you are, then you should be able to correlate the cost of what you're charging to the value that they're getting. Stop making assumptions and prejudging what people can or cannot afford, because you know what? The guy who's driving a beater might have $100,000 in the bank. You don't know. You have no idea. And the guy who's driving the Mercedes might be on the verge of bankruptcy. Stop prejudging people and just make your offer and let the right people show up. Do we have any questions here? So Sherry's question is, do you craft messages to a list of link clickers or direct message each person? Sometimes I do both, Sherry. Sometimes I look at the list and I get a feel for who those people are. And I think about what is the message that they need to hear. How can I help them make a buying decision? Not how can I manipulate them? How can I communicate with them in a way that helps them make a buying decision? What questions do they have? What are they worrying about? Why are they procrastinating? What are they skeptical of? How can I answer those questions in the communication? And then sometimes I'll just send people a direct message on Facebook and say, hey, how's it going? So what do you think of my Profit Pods program? Is that something you're interested in? When Profit Pods fills up, and by the way, we have one spot left right now at the 9 a.m. Profit Pods slot. When we fill that, we put a wait list up and people enter their name and emails in the wait list. And then people send me messages and say, when are you opening pods again? I think I might be interested in your pods thing. And I'll send people direct messages on Facebook chat and just have a conversation with them. So I think it depends on who the people are and the type of relationship that you have with them. If I looked at somebody who clicked on a link, and let's say it's Darlene, and I know Darlene, I might just say, hey, Darlene, I noticed that you clicked on the link about my group coaching program. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask me? Because I have a relationship with Darlene and I could ask her that. She wouldn't be offended or weirded out by it. So sometimes I might do that. And other times I might just send a message and craft the message based on the group of people. I think it depends on whether I'm trying to fill a larger number of spots or just one and how much time I have on my hands. All right. The number one way to find effortless sales opportunities. Anybody want effortless? Your existing clients are your greatest source of business and your greatest source of referrals. Everybody is always out there looking to acquire new business. They're always about the new business, the new person who's doing business with them, the new program that they're going to create, instead of actually looking at the people that already do business with them. I have people who do business with me that have literally bought every single thing I offer. I'm not kidding, everything. Sometimes they buy things twice and I have to give them their money back. Don't underestimate, undervalue, or underappreciate your existing client base. You want to nurture your existing client base like crazy. I hear stories about internet marketers who They do this thing where, somebody buys a coaching program and works with them, and then that person stops working with them. And so now they're on the outside. When they're on the inside, they get all kinds of attention and love and cuddles, and, they're treated really, really well. And then as soon as they stop spending money, they treat them like, they're a fly buzzing around their Chardonnay. Don't treat anybody who's done business with you that way. Treat every single person who's ever done business with you with the utmost respect, because people who have done business with you once before are more likely to do business with you before. Your existing base of customers is the number one space where you can generate additional revenue in your business by serving them further, and where you can ask for referrals. If you've done a good job, they will refer you to other people. It's as simple as sending them an email and saying, I'm looking for a way to grow my business. Do you know anybody who might be interested in ABC? If so, I'd really appreciate it if you could tell me who they are, and or if you would connect me. Super easy. Your existing client base is worth a lot of money. Treat those people well. Value those people. I just had a group of my private coaching clients come here to mastermind for a couple of days. I took them out for lobster dinner. I had one of them get a little cranky with me at the table because she wanted to order steak to go with her dinner, and she didn't want me to pay for it. And I was like, girlfriend, the bill's already taken care of. Too bad. I already made arrangements to pay for it before you even got here. So you just order whatever you want to eat, and it's not negotiable. It's done. And you're taking care of your clients, especially clients who invest at a high level. You want to really nurture and build relationships and take care of your clients. And if you do a really good job of caring about them and taking good care of them, they'll continue to do business with you. But when you treat them like, Friday's leftover dinner that's gone bad in the fridge, they're not going to keep doing business with you. That is the number one place that it's effortless to grow your business. Just people don't do that. They don't appreciate and value the people that are right in front of them because they're too busy looking out here to see what else might be on the other side. So focus, love, serve the people who already do business with you, and they're going to help you grow your business. All ships rise with the tide. Help those people and they will help you grow your business. All right. And don't just sell to them all the time. Like, seriously, serve them. Offer things like treat them well. Give them free information. Give them added value. Don't just go to your inbox every day and try to sell to them. That's not what I mean. What I mean is respect these people. Nurture these people. Don't underestimate the value that they offer to your business. Think about it. Is there a restaurant you like to go to for lunch or dinner? And do you go back over and over again? Of course you do, because you know what to expect there and you like how you're treated there. That's why you go. It's the same thing with your customers. Treat them so well that they want to do business with you over and over again. All right. What else? What are you saying for, Heather? Very true. Yeah, people have bought twice. Lots of times too, Vesna. Lots of times I've had to get Shannon to refund things. So, love those people, but don't take advantage of them. That's not cool. All right. Any questions about that section? Whew, it's hot in my office. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, lobster. Yeah, it was really good lobster. We had lots of lobster while people were here, Heather. It was good. So what has worked for me and what has not worked for me in my own business? When I owned my retail store, spray and pray marketing didn't work. What worked was my understanding that I needed to drive traffic across the lease line so that I could be face-to-face with people, create an experience that made them want to do business with me. So if you have a bricks and mortar retail establishment, getting people to cross the lease line is what you really need to focus on. When you sponsor this team and advertise in that newspaper and that coupon book, that stuff never ever worked for me. It was always the things that brought people in. Online, build it and you will wait. You don't want to build it and wait. You need to market your marketing. You can't wait for people to find you. That's not a launch, that's a leak. It's like a leaky faucet. It's annoying. People think, oh, I'm going to build this ebook and I'm going to sell thousands of copies. I'm going to sell X number of copies per day. It doesn't work like that. You got to market your marketing online if you want it to work. Social media, always selling in your feed doesn't work. People get annoyed. They unfriend you. They unfollow you. They hide you. So you don't want to be always selling. You want to be always seeding. Speaking, hard pitches don't work. Demonstrating value always works. Discovery calls, when you're unprepared, they always go sideways and you end up telling. Telling isn't selling, but when you have a system and you follow your system and you guide your client through the same system, it's really easy to close that business. So create systems that help you do a better job in your business. So we covered 5 mistakes. We talked about 4 platforms, 3 strategies, 2 places, and 1 way to pick up extra sales. I briefly talked about what worked and what didn't work for me because we're crazy over time. And I'm curious, how does selling make you feel? You know, what is it about selling? Does it make you, do you love to sell, or does it make you feel uncomfortable? Are you selling enough to pay your bills and pay yourself a paycheck, or is selling something that, you know, not earning enough money right now and you want to figure out how to change that? You figure out what is it about the selling process that is tripping you up and how you can change that. Because selling is a skill, and the more you practice the skill, the better you get at it. So even like webinars like this, the first time you do one of these webinars, chances are you're going to get maybe 1 or 2 sales, maybe nobody will buy, because you need to practice the way that you pitch in order to refine what works and what doesn't work. And quite frankly, the thing that has always worked best for me is just to be honest. The elephant in the room, to let people know at the very beginning what it is that I've got to offer, and to let people know, like, I've been on this thing with you guys for an hour and 20 minutes for a $47 a month membership fee. That's crazy. Imagine what you get if you're actually in that program. Honestly. Vesna says, I'm scared, so I'm not selling much. That's normal, Vesna. But here's what I'm going to say to you. If I can do it, you can do it. You can learn how to sell. And you're always going to be scared until you get more comfortable with it. You know, if you think about the conscious competence model, you are unconsciously incompetent, meaning you don't know what you don't know. Then you become consciously incompetent. You know you suck at selling. And that's negative energy. So what you have to do to get rid of the, you know, I suck at selling, is you have to move into a conscious, competent state. I know how to sell, but I got to focus on my system. I got to sharpen my saw and get better at that skill. Once you get to the conscious competence stage, you can then go to unconscious competence, where selling becomes so easy, you don't even need to think about it anymore. But you got to start by building the skill. And if you don't have the skills and you don't have the right business foundation, it's going to be really, really hard to do. So what I would encourage you to do is become a never-ending student of how you approach building your business, growing your business, and selling. If you become a never-ending student, then you're always looking for ways to improve upon what it is you are doing. I want you to think about sports, for example. You know, if you think about why do teams, sport teams, have a coach? They have a coach because that coach ensures that they go to practice on a regular basis. The coach gives them expert insight on what works and what doesn't work. The coach calls you out on your mindset, right? If you're in a bad mindset space and you're playing on a football team, as an example, the coach is going to focus on your mindset and get you out of that negative spot. The coach is going to give you objective observations based on how you perform. You can't see yourself in action, but a coach can see you, and they can show you and hold the mirror up to the things that you might not see. A coach can also inspire greater potential in you because they believe in you, and they can show you minor changes to make the outcome work better than maybe if you just kept doing the same thing over and over again. And the other thing a good coach can do is celebrate your victories. Business owners suck at celebrating victories. We are so good at crucifying ourselves for the things that we do wrong, but we're not good at celebrating our victories. And sometimes it's because we're surrounded by people who are non-entrepreneurial types. They have jobs. They don't understand what it means to be an entrepreneur. So you can't celebrate that you just had your biggest sale because they don't get it. You can't celebrate you just had your biggest month because they don't really get what that means. So a coach, on the other hand, gets the game. And they will hold the mirror up and help you to celebrate your victories, even if they are small victories on a regular basis. That's why teams, whether they are professional teams or whether they are school teams, have coaches, because it's a proven fact that a coach can help you get better results than you can probably get on your own for all of those reasons. So the question that I have for you is, would you like me to be your coach? Would you like to access what I know on a regular basis for a little bit of money? And so what I want to do is I actually want to share with you the Pilot to Profit program. I want to show you what it looks like. I want to take you there right now. Oh, and I need to make my screen big, because if my screen is teeny tiny, you can't see it. Oops. So what is the Pilot to Profit program? You know, I basically just decided that I was tired of launching things all the time. And I really wanted to focus all of my effort and energy on leading and inspiring and building a community. I love an active community of people who are trying to grow their business. I love showing up and answering questions and helping people to figure things out. My team, you think Shannon's great here? You should see her inside of some of our private Facebook groups, answering questions and showing people how to actually get through some of the challenges that they're having. So I created Pilot to Profit to basically bring everything together. And you could go to Pilot to Profit if you go to lisalarter.com/P2P. Pilot to Profit is really about allowing people to find a way to access everything that I offer for as little as $47 a month. So you can become a lifetime member for $4.97. You'll never pay another fee, or you can try it out for $47 a month and see what I've got. You can join for $47 and you'll get instant access to all the bonuses, and you will find a peer group of like-minded entrepreneurs already waiting for you in our Facebook community. So let me tell you what this is all about. You know, you could read the sales page. You're pretty good at doing that. I'm going to just take you down to the juicy stuff. So basically, we scroll down to all this stuff. How does it work? When you become a member of Pilot to Profit, you get access to the Pilot Project, the Content Pilot, and the Sales Pilot. You also get access to any and all the updates for as long as you are a member. So why do you need all three programs? Because I believe that the key to your success is building a solid business foundation, which many people don't have, developing content that builds your credibility on a regular, ongoing basis, and learning how to sell. Because if you don't know how to sell, you can't close business. And in addition to all of that, I believe you need to use social media to connect and find and build relationships with your audience. But I hate creating social media training because social media changes all the frickin' time. So I would rather get on a Google Hangout like this and show you how to do something live on the screen than create training with a bunch of screenshots that's outdated tomorrow. So instead of you paying $47 every time I do one of those training webinars, you would now get all of those training webinars for free. So what is the pilot project? Basically, the pilot project helps you define your business model. You get all kinds of tools and systems for managing sales and cash flow. You learn about factory capacity model, which is really about managing how much business you can take at any point in time. There's a whole section dedicated to asking for the money and getting it. I teach you the proven systems that I use to communicate with people. And, we go deep on conversations around performance managing your team, because that's one of those tricky things. Having uncomfortable conversations with your customers and or your employees or subcontractors, you got to learn how to do that. And you also need to learn how to keep your eye on the bottom line without stressing and obsessing. The content pilot, you get all this stuff, excuse me, and more. It took me a year to create my first freebie. Not anymore. I can create freebies in a second. Seriously, we can turn this webinar into a freebie in 24 hours if we wanted to. I'm going to teach you how to create freebies so that you can actually build your list and start to create your own community. We cover all the ins and outs of opt-ins and autoresponders, how to create blog content, how to actually do a weekly newsletter, how to share your content through social media or distribute your content, which is what I call it, how to use article marketing to repurpose your content, how to create an ebook you can sell, and then how to create a course like the pilot project that you can sell as well. And the sales pilot is where it gets really juicy, because we go through and we talk about your money mindset. I teach you a system for selling. I teach you value pricing, how to actually price yourself the right way so that people know the value that they're getting. How to get customers. Maybe you don't have a customer yet. You need to learn how to do that. How to retain customers, and how to use social media for selling. We go deep into how to close the sale, and then the secret sauce around reducing your rejection rate and increasing your conversion rate. If you don't know what your conversion rate is the percentage of people you talk to that actually buy from you. How does it work? Each week you get a module dripped to you. It's a lesson a week. There's questionnaires, there's all kinds of resource tools and worksheets and things like that. And there's also audio files that you get. So if you want to listen to me on the go, you can. And the best news is it's $47 a month. You can leave at any time. You could start and do this for 3 months and say, hey, this isn't my cup of tea, and you can leave. Or you can start and you can stay for 3 years. It's totally up to you. I actually prefer to pay for something as a one-time fee and know that it's done and that I have access to the community long term. That's why I'm giving people the opportunity to pay $4.97, which is essentially 10 months worth for free, or to get lifetime access. Or if you're not sure and you want a lower price point, you can join for $47 a month and you can opt out any time you want. There's also a money back guarantee. If you participate in this program and you do the work and you show me you can do the work and you don't get results, I'll give you your money back. Now, I'm not going to give you your money back if you buy $47 a month and 3 years later you say, oh, Lisa, I want my money back. You need to do the work while we're doing the work. And if you're not happy, you need to come back and tell me you're not happy right away so that we can work through this and I can try to help you. You got to be all in the game, because I don't want you in this program if you're not going to do the work. I want you in this program because you actually want to be in the game. You are coachable, you want to generate revenue, and you want to build your business. And then there's a crazy list of bonuses. Like, honestly, live social media and business strategy webinars. I'm going to do these on a regular monthly basis. I am going to give you the online marketing quick start bundle that's got the online business model, products, packages, and programs, list building, email marketing. I'm going to give you know your numbers. I'm going to give you both my ebooks, My God, I might even give you my husband. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go that far. He's a keeper. And then there's a whole bunch of expert interviews that you're going to get immediate access to. So I got to tell you, the bonuses alone are worth 10 times, if not 20 times, the first month of admission. So if you join for a month and all you do is download the bonuses, you just got ridiculous, ridiculous value. So this is new. It's completely new. And the only reason that we're actually doing it this way is because people told us that they would rather have a way to access the information on a monthly basis and to be able to opt out when they were done than to pay a bigger fee for the programs. And I changed it up because I just don't want to be launching stuff all the time. I don't want to be selling all the time. I want to create a community that is so freaking amazing. You tell two friends and they tell two friends and so on and so forth. And people are just joining the community because of the reputation. That's how I build my consulting business. A lot of the consulting work that I do, I don't even really have to go out and get clients because other clients refer me clients all the time. That's what I want for you, and that's what I want for this community. I want it to be the best thing you ever decided to do. So I'd like to ask you to join. I'd like to ask you to try it out for at least a month. Give me a chance for a month. If you join now, we start dripping the modules on August the 24th, which means that you will have access until I will even wrap it around until September 24th. If you decide you want to opt out, you'll get those extra couple of weeks free. And if the next payment shows up on your card, I'll give you that money back if you're not happy with how things are going. But I'm pretty sure you're going to be happy with how things are going because we've already got a really great community in there. There are people who already bought the sales pilot a while ago that got access to all of the modules. And if you already bought Pilot to Profit earlier this year when I initially launched it, you get all these bonuses and you get everything already. You're a lifetime member. And if you've done the pilot project programs, like I said, check your inbox. And if you're new to Lisa, look at what you just got for the last 90 minutes. You'd be crazy not to invest in continuing to work with me on an ongoing basis. I have built a 6- and 7-figure business, and I've grown my business and kept my business at over the $500,000 mark 3 years in a row. I'm not a flash in the pan type of person. I am a consistent, proven person when it comes to building businesses. I've been self-employed for almost 10 years now, and my business is doing okay. So I want to teach you how I did that, and I want to help you get past some of the questions and challenges that you're having in your business so that you can create the life and business you want. So I'm going to stop presenting my screen. If you want to join monthly, click order now at the top. And if you want lifetime access, you can click order now at the bottom. And I'm going to flip back over to the chat to see if there are any questions for me. So do you have questions about this program that I have not answered? Let me know what they are. My screen is hanging on me, so maybe that means there's a million questions. I'm not sure. I can tell you one thing. I am hot. All right. Thanks, Mike. I think it's a good deal. I think that I can honestly say I care about the people in this program, and I really want to do a good job of building community. I really want to lead, and I want to help people be successful in their business. I know that it's hard to build a business. And I know that if you don't have supportive people around you and entrepreneurial people around you, it can be really frustrating. And I would like to see more people succeed and less people's businesses go under in the first 5 years. Thank you, Diane. All right. Chat, because yeah, the chat closes out if you don't type, I think every 15 minutes it closes out. So I don't see any other questions. I'm going to hang out for a little bit just in case, because I know there's a little bit of a delay. When we start the Hangout, I'm broadcasting for a little bit of time before everybody else joins. So you don't see the delay, but if I were to stop right now, you would still see me talking because the delay is in the actual broadcast. So thank you, Heather. I appreciate you. All right. So I'm going to say sayonara. Thanks, guys, for being here. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Don't hesitate to private message me your question. You can email me, Lisa@Larter, if you have questions. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for spending almost the last 2 hours with me. I hope you got extreme value out of this at the very least. So thanks so much for being here. And I hope that we get to continue this conversation in Pilot to Profit. Bye.